Centerpiece, the show dedicated to fighting on the front lines of political hypocrisy, exposing the lies and false promises of our leadership. And now your host, the voice of reason, Nick Messer. What's up, guys? This is Mina May filling in for Nick tonight. So we've got a few things. I'm sure you guys have all heard about Potato Head. Yeah, I don't get it. It's a potato, but I guess we're going with it. But then I guess they kind of they backtracked and decided to say, oh, there's still going to be Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. I don't know. Well, all of this anymore, changing everything. It just doesn't seem... It doesn't seem real anymore. I mean, when I say that I honestly feel like we are living in a real life daytime TV show, daytime drama. I mean, that's pretty well what it is, and it's poorly written. So yeah. So Senator Rand Paul decided to ask some questions. And he asked some questions of Dr. Rachel Levine. And as you all know, Dr. Rachel Levine is a trans woman. And he dodged. Here's the thing. We'll just get this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for you that I have, because this is just sad in a lot of ways.
Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I will look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was confused with her identity. At 14, she read on the internet about something about transsexuals. She thought, well, maybe that's what I am. She ended up getting these puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones. She had her breasts amputated. But here's what ultimately she says now. And this is a very insightful decision from someone who made a mistake but was led to believe this was a good thing by the medical community. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we believe that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field, and if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER. But you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? You give a woman testosterone enough that she grows a beard, do you think she's going to go back looking like a woman when you stop the testosterone?
So Dr. Levine just dodges Senator Rand Paul's question.
You have permanently...
He just dodges it. Yeah, and that's right. He just keeps repeating like a scripted response. He doesn't give anything else to it. Just a scripted response. And it's just really sad. Because here's the thing. Kids can't go into a doctor's office without their parents to even be put on medication. They have to have parental consent. I mean, if you're going to go into the hospital for surgery, if your child has to go into the hospital for surgery for any sort of amputation, they have to come out and get parental consent first. I mean, and the worst part about this is a lot of these kids, and yeah, Democrats are, we've seen that a lot. Democrats are very, very good at dodging. A lot of these kids that they're talking, a lot of these kids that are that are being seen and talked to about what gender they want to be are between the ages of like 3 and 10 years old. Why are we talking to 3-year-olds about what gender they want to be? They don't even know. Most 3-year-olds don't even know how to go to the bathroom yet. Some 3-year-olds don't even know how to go to the bathroom yet. Some 3-year-olds are still learning their colors and their numbers and words, 3-letter words. And you're expecting them to make life decisions? It's a little much, I think. A little much. And I think it's a little sadistic to think that it's okay to let such a young child decide their own gender and ultimately have this. I mean, you just heard him read a letter from a 23-year-old girl who did this to herself. And now she regrets it because she did it when she was a minor, when she wasn't even in the right mind to be doing it. These are kids. Kids haven't even experienced the world yet. And you're wanting them to make decisions on whether and on what gender they want to be at 3 years old. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. All of this, to me, is the biggest show, the biggest put on. It's like this Equality Act that they just passed. They don't care about who they hurt. The only thing they're doing is going, well, these people are yelling and whining the loudest, so we're just going to appease these people. And I'm sorry, if that happens to tick you off, what I just said, then you know what? Let it tick you off. Because that's what they're doing. They're just appeasing you. They're just making you happy for the moment. Because I'm telling you right now, they don't care who they hurt. And this whole Equality Act of allowing transgender women, biological males, okay? That's what we're going with. Biological males to compete in sports with women. Biological males to be in women-only spaces. Biological males to share locker rooms and bathrooms with your teenage children, with your teenage female daughters. You've taken the rights, the security, the safety, you've taken it all away from women. You have eviscerated them. You have completely just erased women's rights right off the board. And they don't care. They don't care whether this bill, this Equality Act, hurts anyone. To be quite honest, it doesn't help anyone. But there's just so many oppressed people in the world. The worst part about it is I'm so sick of hearing this oppressed. This oppressed. I'm oppressed. This white privilege. You know? Y'all think you're so oppressed. So judged, so oppressed, so put down. And you really don't know. You really don't. You think you're the only ones who have to work so hard for everything. Who have to struggle so hard for everything. I literally saw this post today, and it made me laugh so hard, but at the same time, I honestly felt it. You know, coming from someone whose husband works 2 jobs, and I myself work a job, on top of doing this, and taking care of 3 children. Those of you who are claiming the oppression, do you work 2 jobs? Does your husband work 2 jobs? Does your wife work a job and then turn around and come home and take care of 3 children? Because if they're not and you're claiming oppression, then get a job. Because I'm tired of hearing it. And if that ticked you off, guess what? I don't care. I'm sick of hearing I'm oppressed, but you ain't doing nothing about it. Do something about it. And I don't mean get out on the street and start burning crap down. I'm talking about get out and get a dang job. Stop acting stupid. Stop playing this victim card. It is so monotonous. And people are tired of hearing it. And you know what? I'm sorry if we're all hurting your feelings, because we're finally coming out and saying we're tired of your crap. Get the hell over it. Get your butts out. Get a damn job. Stop crying over this oppression and that you need whatever you need to be taken care of. Like, what? We owe you something? We don't owe you anything. None of us owe you anything. The government doesn't owe you anything. White people don't owe you anything. Asian people don't owe you anything. Black people don't owe you anything. No one in this world is owed anything. You have to work for it. Get off your ass, quit crying, and get out there and get a damn job. Stick your nose in a dang book. Learn something. Read. Get your nose out of the dang phone. Stop playing on TikTok, because you ain't learning nothing on TikTok. I saw this post and I literally laughed my hind end off. I'm telling you. For sale. My white privilege card. For over 50 years old, but in mint condition, never used. Reason for selling. It hasn't done anything for me. No free college, no free food, no free housing, no free anything. I've had to go to work every day of my life while paying a boatload of taxes to carry those who chose not to work. If interested, I prefer cash, but willing to do an even trade for a victim card, which seems much more widely accepted and comes with countless benefits without even having to show the card. If interested, contact me on my cell phone that I pay for every month. Serious buyers only. That literally cracked me up. Sorry, I had to read it, but it's true. Like I said, my husband works 2 jobs. I work my job. I come home and I take care of my children. Everything that we have, we've busted our butts for. And we've struggled every day. Some months we've struggled so hard that we didn't know if we were either going to be able to put food on the table or pay our electric bill. But we managed to get through it. And sometimes that meant we took on extra jobs, even if it was odd jobs. We didn't sit around and cry. We didn't blame other people. We figured it out. If we had to sell stuff to get by, we sold stuff. I don't know why y'all think you're the only one out there struggling. And most of y'all are all probably go, oh, well, you're on a radio and you're on a podcast. Well, yeah. We worked for this stuff. We paid for this stuff to be able to do this. We don't make money from this podcast. Oh, what? Maybe a whole $3. I'm sick of hearing it. Get off TikTok. Get off Facebook. Get off Twitter. Put your nose in a dang book. Learn something. Take a couple of classes. Get a job. And stop thinking that everyone in this world owes you reparations. Because no one knows you anything. I don't care who you are. I don't care what color you are. No one owes you anything. No one. And if you think the government's going to help you, you're dead wrong on that too. Because they're trying to pass a $1.9 billion. Is that $1.9 billion? Yeah. I know. Some of y'all work at places where you can be killed. And you guys don't complain. I know, listener. Some of you guys got some pretty dangerous jobs. I'm one of the lucky ones. My job isn't that dangerous, but I know. Yeah, 1.9 trillion. And you, the taxpayers, the ones that have been struggling through this whole shutdown and COVID BS, you're worth $1,400. That's it. Because Nancy Pelosi wants the rest of it for her payoff. That's all you're worth to your government. Is $1,400. And I know some of you are out there going, well, that's better than nothing. Oh, really? I disagree. I disagree greatly. Because unfortunately, I'm on the side of the people who have been screwed over and lost their livelihoods, all because Biden decided he wanted to shut down the Keystone Pipeline, probably one of the safest ways for us to access clean energy. But no, he wanted to shut it down and destroy tens of thousands of jobs. And you know that whole trickle down effect? You shut down the pipeline, and then all the jobs connected or intertwined with that pipeline they start shutting down or they start laying off. So then you've got even more people who are losing jobs. So now I don't want to hear about any reparations or oppression. You got people who've been working their hind ends off all their lives. Some of these people who go to work and don't see their families for months. And they just lost their livelihoods because of the one person y'all put into office. So my advice to you is just sit the hell down, because nobody wants to hear your bull crap anymore. Nobody wants to hear it. It's old news. And if I'm ticking you off, good. I hope I am. Because I'm sick and tired of it too. Alright, y'all, we're gonna take a quick break because I'm heated, so I need it.
Jason Reeve, the host of the American Gun Show here, inviting you to listen to our new show, Current Pulse. Join myself, Mina May, Nick Messer, and Samantha Reeve as we discuss top stories, political hypocrisy, and even stories you might not have even heard about. It's an open discussion of facts, not fake news like CNN and MSNBC. Join us on the weekly podcast, Current Pulse, right here on Spreaker.com or your favorite podcast provider. Are you a constitutionalist and fan of the Second Amendment? Then you need to listen to the American Gun Show, hosted by me, Jason Reeve, the voice of freedom. We talk about laws, training, and everything in between. Find us on the Firearms Radio Network, iHeartRadio, and every podcast platform. The American Gun Show. Our rights, our fight.
Alright, guys. We're back. Sorry, Jason. When I get heated and when I get talking on stuff that gets me frustrated, it just comes out. So, I don't know if you guys have heard Biden's kids in cages. Oh, where's AOC when you need her her overdramatic? we need that photo, like that perfect photo of her standing there crying and weeping for the poor kids in cages. Oh. Yeah. That girl gets me heated. Oh, she gets me so heated because some days like you know when you've met someone so fake. And then you meet someone like AOC and you're like, dang, I did not know that there was anyone that fake. A migrant dormitory facility. Yeah, no, kids in cages. I mean, if they were called kids in cages under Trump, then they're kids in cages under Biden. I'm sorry. Because it's the same facility. It's the exact same facility. Oh, Lord have mercy. Yep. Okay. Them's the rules. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, well, real quick here, I just want to get on to something a little bit serious. Something that's a little close to my heart. A lot of you know, if you listen to Current Pulse, you know how I am on human trafficking, how I am about trying to get the word out on battling it and everything. And this is Biden, this open borders, human trafficking is modern day slavery, okay? And the vast majority of all human trafficking victims, and this is some 71%, are women and girls. And 1/3 of them are children. Now, don't get me wrong. Alright. Men and boys, they're victims of human trafficking as well. Okay? They are absolutely capable of being victims. And here in the U.S., we see 100,000 children sold for sex in the U.S. every year. All right, now human trafficking. When I start talking about human trafficking, or when anyone thinks about human trafficking, it seems like a lot of people think, well, these kids have been kidnapped, and that's not entirely true. Human trafficking does not always involve kidnappings. Okay? There's a global hub on human trafficking. It's the Counter Trafficking Data Collaborative. And it shows that over 40% of trafficked children are trafficked by family, sometimes friends, or even an intimate partner. Okay? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of the very extreme large issues that are going on at the border. Okay, right now we've got this thing called the Flores Amendment. It's a new addition to the immigration, and it basically is, if you have adults coming over with children, with minors, those individuals get a fast pass through processing and get released from detainment a lot quicker than just adults coming alone. Okay? So that's why all of a sudden there was this huge surge of adults coming with children. Well, the problem is many of them are not even related. Like, the children are not even related to the adults bringing them across the border. And that's specifically because of this Flores Amendment. And we didn't see this surge until after that amendment went into effect. It's this whole rent-a-kid thing. And that's a real thing. I'm just telling you right now. If you honestly believe that this isn't a thing, I'm telling you right now, this is a real thing. Okay, it's just another form of human trafficking. Some of these families who need money essentially let these adults take their kids and allow their kids to be used to get these adults across the border. So then the consequence of all this was, guess what? They had to reopen the facilities that were open under Trump, the kids in cages that everyone referred to. Okay? Back when you had the whole walkout with Wayfair and that whole kids in cages bull. Now, granted, they were only open for a month under Trump, but now the Biden administration is having to reopen them as a consequence of not being strong on border security. And they're not projecting a good enough deterrent on unauthorized entry. And I have seen a lot of criticism about the reopening of these facilities. And I cannot wrap my head around any of you, like any of the criticism. I mean, you have to consider the pandemic. You cannot have so many individuals housed in a singular building. And yet that's just another consequence. I mean, when these unaccompanied minors are brought in by adults that are unrelated, usually the detainment centers are ICE run. They're government run. But here with this, in the so-called kids in cages, this facility, this in Carrizo Springs, the entity running things here are run by a nonprofit called BCFS. Okay, they're with Health and Human Services. They're a contractor with HHS and a contractor with the Office of Refugee Resettlement, and it focuses specifically and exclusively on unaccompanied children. The facilities have amenities, they have beds, they have water, they have electricity and air conditioning. This is a non-profit focused on children, and they're safe. But yet under Trump, they were considered kids in cages. And now people are freaking out over this. The same people who wanted open borders. You created this. You created this problem. So by your complaints, I assume you would rather see these kids be kept in crappier conditions. I mean, because the only other option at this point is to throw these children into already overburdened detention facilities with adults. So, if anyone has complaints, I'm going to assume that that's what you support. You support putting these kids in crappier conditions. Is that what you support? ICE is already overwhelmed. Do you want them to be kept with adults, potential traffickers, in overburdened general detention facilities? Because here's the thing. These facilities run by BCFS, that's what this solves. It puts these children in safe environment, because we can't just let anyone in who just happens to have a kid. They have to be processed. And we have to know that these kids are truly their kids. And trafficking of any form has to be taken seriously. Adults who bring children that are not their own should be punished more harshly, because it encourages trafficking. We need a much stronger deterrent against it. But the problem with that is that comes into conflict with the Flores Amendment. So if you don't see how it just doesn't work, basically what's happening is it's exploiting the Flores Amendment, and it's exploiting children to gain access into America illegally. So if you don't like the fact that these facilities had to be reopened, then apparently you just don't care about children at all. Because these facilities, like I said, who are run by a nonprofit, focused specifically on children, unaccompanied children. They're safe. And people are going insane about the bars on the windows. These people and these children just came from another country. What do you expect? They're safe. They have amenities. They have beds. They have running water. They have air conditioning. The fact that the only thing any of you can do is whine and moan about every single thing it just blows my mind. Some days I wonder how you have enough time to be on Twitter and Facebook and to have so much time on your hands to be able to whine and moan so much. I think the other... Jason's going to be on. Jason Reeve from the American Gun Show is going to be on after me tonight. And I so wanted to get to this. I did. But I'm not going to be able to because I don't want to run into his show. But I saw this story today and it made me laugh so hard. The fact that Democrats want Joe Biden to turn over the nuke codes. You know, here, I'll just read it real quick because it was just too funny. So, this will be my ending one, and it's Democrats want Joe to turn over the nuke codes, y'all. Jimmy Panetta of California sent this letter asking that Biden alter the command and control structure surrounding Americans' nuclear arsenal so that no single person can launch the weapon. The weapon. Oh, is this even constitutional, Jason, if you're still in the chat, is this constitutional? Because I don't think it is. I mean, they must not have much trust in Mr. President. The letter states, vesting one person with this authority entails real risks. Past presidents. You don't think so? I don't think so either. Okay, so this letter states vesting one person with this authority entails real risks. Past presidents have threatened to attack other countries with weapons, and they exhibit the behavior that cause other officials to express concern about their judgment. So you're not making us any more confident of the mental fitness of this president, Democrats. I mean, what the hell? Yeah, the 25th Amendment isn't far behind. And then they have the audacity to get mad at us for pointing out these things. Like you're not making us any more confident in his mental fitness. Like, what is he going to do? Just, whoop, well, I'm going to go ahead and nuke this country, you know? It's like, listen, guys, you made the set here. We just aced it over the net. I mean, come on. All right, you know what? I'm done. Y'all. Yeah, okay. You know, that's just going to be it for Centerpiece tonight, y'all. Okay? Because I'm done. I think I've yelled and screamed at y'all enough tonight. So, thank you guys for joining me. Listeners who kind of made me laugh a little bit. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. They all said that's what Trump would do. So, alright, y'all. This is Mina May. I'm signing off for Nick. I took over for Nick tonight. So I'm signing off of Centerpiece tonight. I hope y'all have a good night.
Thanks for listening tonight, and remember, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Benjamin Franklin. You can reach me at www.facebook.com/centerpiece. You can also email me at centerpieceshow@gmail.com, or you can shoot me a tweet at centerpieceshow on Twitter. Thanks again for listening.